Hey, this is Josh with Block Roots, and I'm filming my first live video here with YouTube. And I just want to share today about the Bitcoin weekly chart, the daily chart. Of course, nothing that I share is financial advice. It's my own opinion. And so make sure that if you do want to invest in any type of crypto asset, that you talk to a financial advisor, because that's the law and that's what you should do, or at least do so at your own risk. But again, love Bitcoin, love crypto markets, and I know if you're watching this, you do too. And we all know that it's really volatile. And so here's the weekly chart for Bitcoin. Of course, with that said, recently we had the sell-off that was the past couple of days here. And so why did it stop there, right? Like, where is it holding? Or actually, why is it holding? And so if I were to go ahead and show you that the current support level, it was previously a weekly support level, and so that's actually quite a strong weekly support level, as you see the close and the opens here, and that's currently where Bitcoin is holding. Now, as far as a chart, you always want to look at the higher time frame charts. They have a lot more power, there's a lot more data involved, and so there's definitely a lot more. The support is and resistance is much stronger on the weekly and daily compared to the hourly and the minute charts. And so Bitcoin is currently holding right here. Of course, the next step would be to go to the previous low for the year of 2018, which is around 3,200. That's going to be the next step. Certainly, I think that if it breaks here, it would challenge this and could likely break. If it did break, of course, the next step would be where to go is what everybody asks. And so I certainly think that, yeah, it could hit as low as down here around 2,900. But certainly, I think not just that area, I certainly think that this would be a good area as well. Around 2750 would be a place where people would start to scale in. Now, as far as my personal opinion, I feel like this is a great place to scale in. Again, you don't want to try to go all in at once, because a lot of times you're going to get burned. It's better to put in 10, 20% at a time. As far as my perspective and my opinion, again, do what you want to do. If you look down here on the left corner still of the chart, where the cursor's at, you're gonna notice that this is definitely a nice, really strong support area, and that's around 2,500. So I think how low can it go is until Bitcoin actually bounces hard and maybe starts an uptrend. I think to at least 2,500. I think it'll at least hit there. Personally, I think that it'll actually wick below that. I think that it wicks down below 2,000, 1,800, maybe even lower than that as far as the bottom, but the bottom will come quick. Why don't I think this was the bottom? So if I even go to the daily chart, I'll just go ahead and stay. This is the Bitstamp chart. And as you can see, of course, it's holding pretty steady on that weekly support. I don't think this is the bottom, because if you look, it really went down nice and slow, and it gave several days of the bottom, right? So it was down there for 3 days. That was more than enough time for people to scale in, to buy in. And the issue with that is that institutional money, or the big players, or whatever you want to call it, people call it different things, but people who control the market, who have billions of dollars to put into this asset, are going to make sure that the bottom is hard to get to. And so unless you have buy orders in, personally, I think that most people will miss the bottom. I think it's going to be a wick. I think it's going to be quick. I think it's going to be when it's least expected. And it's not going to be like this. And so this was way too easy for people to scale in. And then now it's going up and sideways. And of course, we're going to have sideways accumulation with any market cycle. It's going to have to go sideways at the bottom in order for everyone to buy in, but not at the absolute bottom. If you look at the past history, a lot of times what ends up happening is that there's actually a wick. And so even if I go to the previous bear market, right, if you look at this, there's a capitulation, a wick down, but then it sprung up within a day and went up. And then you never saw it that low again, right? It went down. Only at this time did it wick down again at a spring before going up and having an uptrend from there. So with that said, that's what I expected to happen again. And so that's not what the current chart looks like whatsoever. If you look on the daily, this is what the daily looks like. Now currently, again, it's holding well at this support. If I release all my information here, the current trend line here is actually that weekly long-term support. So that's where it's staying at. The next place where we're going to see Bitcoin go is just below that, where we see an accumulation, an area here where Bitcoin has a nice support level. And after that, of course, is just the low, right? It's just the daily low that we saw, and that's the next support. Certainly, it can bounce in between here. This is a range. Now, I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now, that this is a range. And unless it breaks this range right here, I'm not really interested in a long-term buyer. It's got to break and hold this. Now, as I said earlier in this video, I think Bitcoin is going to go lower. It's going to go to 2,500, even below 2,000. But on a long-term holding perspective, investing perspective, certainly I'm not interested to buy until it either hits back down in this area, previous lows, or if it breaks this, holds, pushes up, breaks this resistance area around 5,500, and then it goes up again to this long-term resistance support level that was around 6,200. And I'm not really interested in buying until it hits here, if this was the bottom, right? So again, you can buy here, scale in here, and then for the most part, I'm not really truly interested, because if this doesn't even break right here, if these two resistance don't even break, we know we're going to see lower lows. So to me, I'm interested in two spots. I'm interested below this support level at previous yearly support. Honestly, I want to see it go below that. I'm interested in putting in buy orders, or it needs to break up here. Now, this is not for trading. Of course, you buy low, you sell high. That's trading, right? Most people don't trade, or they're not good at it. And so for 90% of people, the best step is either to wait and put in buy orders until it goes lower, or if you truly want confirmation, and if you're willing to pay a couple $1,000s more for Bitcoin, you wait until it hits this long-term support. See if it breaks a long-term support turned resistance. See if it breaks it. Wait till it breaks it to come back down and retest and hold. That's when somebody tends to buy. That's a smart time to buy, because you know that once this long-term support right here that's been holding since like November of 2017, once that breaks, that resistance breaks and Bitcoin goes above that and goes back down and it holds, it's probably not going to break below that again. Okay, so just a heads up on that. Just wanted to let you know. And with that said, this is Josh with Block Roots, and we'll talk to you soon.